Hi, my name is Ausi Benitez, and I am a Spanish teacher in the UK. I am here it is, sorry, here is the screen. So I am head of languages as well in a school in Surrey, and I have plenty of experience. I have over 20 years of experience teaching Spanish throughout the secondary school. So today what I'm going to do, I'm going to post this video on my Facebook group, and basically is writing feedback. The writing exam in the GCSE, I teach mainly AQA, is worth 25% of your final grade. And it is very important that you understand that it's simple because students tend to overcomplicate things. They want to think about writing at the same level they will write in English. And obviously, you don't have that vocabulary yet for Spanish. So I always say to my students, make sure you do not overcomplicate things. So I'm just going to go through the writing feedback. So you have here, make sure that you write what you know. That's key. Okay. Don't start thinking about things that you have no idea how to say in Spanish and then start feeling frustrated because you don't know how to say it. So make sure also that it is relevant to the topic that you are writing, that you are being asked to write, and do not overcomplicate your planning. Okay, so if you're doing foundation, there is for the writing there is this photo description. So for the photo description, this is very, very easy to get a full mark. You can use the structure IHAY, which means there is. So you can repeat that structure as well and just make sure that you know, for example, here in the example, you have here 4 people. So in Spanish, I say, hay 4 personas. Hay 2 chicos y 2 chicas. Los chicos llevan una barba. Hay una guitarra. Okay, very simple. So there are 4 people, there are 2 boys, there are 2 girls. Both boys have beard or wear, well, in Spanish you say wear a beard. And then you have, there is a guitar. So you get all the points for that. Now, then there is a translation activity as well in the exam. And just make sure that it is accurate, okay? So, for example, you have, I live in a white house. Now, first of all, you need to remember that in the present tense in Spanish, all the verbs end in O. So, vivo, I live. Como, I eat. Trabajo, I work. Bebo, I drink. Enseño, I teach. Okay, so the O at the end means that you're speaking in the present tense about yourself. So, there you have, I live in a white house. Now, next in this sentence is make sure that you remember that noun and adjective, so word order in Spanish is different to the one in English. So in English, you have adjective and then the noun. So you have white house, whereas in Spanish, you will have house white. Okay, so then you need to remember casa ends in A, so it's a feminine noun. So you need to say vivo en una casa blanca. Okay, so those are tiny details that you need to focus on in your exam. Okay, then check all the other sentences on your paper. Okay, this is basically for my students that I did, and they had to like go through that. Okay, check that they did it all correctly. Now, also in the foundation, then you have a 40-word writing to do. So the task said, make sure you include everything on the 4 bullet points given. Okay, so deportes, sports, redes sociales, social media, televisión, television, and centro comercial, shopping center. So again, 40 words. That's probably 4 lines with 10 words. Hopefully your sentences are all correct. Okay, so here I'm doing basic stuff. Hola, Sofía. Okay, I'm writing an email. It says, normalmente juego al fútbol con mis amigos. Es genial. ¿Y tú? Okay, so using present tense, giving an opinion. Es genial. Me encantan las redes sociales. Now, las redes sociales is plural, so therefore I need to use me encantan. Okay? Now, again, I'm giving opinion. Mi aplicación favorita es Instagram porque es entretenida. Okay? Very simple things. My favorite app is Instagram because it is entertaining. Then I will use a different tense. Okay? La semana pasada vi la televisión. So last week I watched television. And then I give again another opinion. Me encantan las series policíacas. Okay? I like police series. La próxima semana voy a ir al centro comercial. Future tense. So next week I'm going to go to the shopping center. Voy a comprar ropa. I'm going to buy clothes. Será genial. It will be great. Okay, so very simple, basic Spanish. But again, I'm using almost 4 different tenses in this. But I am building my writing from very simple ideas, okay, making sure that I follow up the bullet points that they ask me there. Now, then for the foundation and higher, this is an overlapping activity because you get it in both papers. So for foundation and higher, you need to write a 90-word paragraph, okay? Again, you need to make sure that you include all the bullet points, okay? You need to mention at least 3 tenses, okay, just to play it on the safe side, present, past, and future. You need to include opinions and justifications too. Linking words, pero, y, también, okay, en mi opinión. I know that's part of an opinion, but again, it's giving you extra vocabulary that you can use. Then I call something that a colleague of mine left in my school, and she calls it the magic paper. I could probably share that with you as well on the group. And I always say to my students, if you use phrases from the magic paper, you will get it right. Okay. But again, every time you do a writing, use your magic paper. So by the time after the year and a half of practice you have, then you will feel confident enough to use it, the words or the vocabularies on the magic paper, without having to have the magic paper with you. Now, I gave a sample answer here. So basically, the students had to include family, describe your family, relationship with your family, technology, something that you celebrated last year, okay, and where do you want to live in the future and why. Okay, these are based, this is not from a past paper, this is something I created based on the content that my student had covered by then. Okay, and then here is a sample answer. So you can read these. This is in my this is on the group. You can download the PDF, and you have there. So very simple again. Soy Marta. Tengo una familia pequeña. En mi familia están mi madre, mi padre, mi hermana Sonia y yo. Again, present tense. Generalmente me llevo muy bien con mis padres porque ellos son amables y comprensivos. Okay. Now, however, linking word. I think. Pienso que mi hermana es bastante molesta. I think that my sister is quite annoying. Again, these intensifiers like bastante, muy, mucho, again, that they give you extra points for the examiner when they are reading your assessment. So then it says, estoy harta de ella. I am fed up with her. These are tiny phrases that it is important that you learn them. If you learn 1 or 2 and you use them regularly, you are safe and you will get a higher grade. I mean, remember, this activity is the overlapping one that goes between foundation and higher. Now, just to remind you as well, if you're doing foundation paper, the max grade you can get is a 5. And then if you're doing higher, obviously you can get from basically 2, which you don't want to, up to grade 9. And I think if you produce this type of quality of writing, this will probably give you between a 7 and a 9 for sure. Okay, then you have, me encanta usar la tecnología. Opinion, la semana pasada mandé correos electrónicos a Pedro, un amigo que vive en Málaga. So again, I'm using different tenses. I'm saying what I did. I am explaining a little bit about my friend who lives in Málaga. Then you have there, mi aplicación favorita es WhatsApp, porque es fácil de usar y es gratis también. So again, I'm giving you my opinion and justifying my opinion. Mi padre dice que. This is key. And these are really simple phrases that you can learn. So my mom says that. Here it says my dad says that. My friend says that. So mi amigo dice que. Mi madre dice que. Mi hermano dice que. And then you give a phrase. La tecnología puede afectar nuestra salud mental y física. Technology can affect our mental health and physical health. Qué rollo. What a drag. Again, tiny phrases that will give you the edge. Then we have, el año pasado mi cumpleaños fue aburrido porque no tuve una fiesta con mis amigos. El problema era COVID-19. Okay, again, saying, talking about your birthday party last year, why it was boring, what was the problem, what you did, what you ate. You describe your cake. Okay. So, and then again, no fue genial, pero fue guay. Okay. It wasn't great, but it was cool. Okay. Este año voy a celebrar mi cumpleaños con mis amigos. Será emocionante. So this year I am going to celebrate my birthday with my friends. It will be exciting. Okay. Different tenses. You are covered here. Quite a lot of different tenses and very basic ones. Okay. Then you have this is I always call this in front of my student. I call them the grade 7 to 9 phrases. Cuando sea mayor. So when I am older, and then it's followed by the conditional tense. So cuando sea mayor, me gustaría vivir en el campo y tener una casa grande con muchos animales. Mi casa tendrá una piscina y también tendré un Ferrari si gano la lotería. Okay, so again, you're using these phrases, and here, this is the 90 words. So the 90 words, again, I always say to my students, make sure you have 4 bullet points normally in the exam. If you decide to write 25 words on average for each bullet point, you don't have to. They don't need to be evenly spread, but you can, just to ease your mind. And you've done it. Okay, you've done it. So 2.5 lines, 25 words for each bullet point. But again, make sure you know your tenses. Make sure you know how to give an opinion. Make sure you know how to say what your mom or your father or your friend think. Okay, again, these are very, very simple phrases that you have in my example here. Then we have the last activity. Well, apart from the translation, you have the 150 word higher work that is only on the higher paper. So this is where students tend to struggle the most because you're only given 2 main bullet points. Okay. So you need to, I always say to my students, look at what bullet points you get and break them down, and then make sure that you know what ideas will fit those bullet points. Okay. The bullet points, again, they don't need to be evenly spread, but they need to be mentioned. Okay. So I said, obviously, if you break it down into smaller chunks when planning, will make it easier for you, and you will have more ideas to write about. You need to, again, include different tenses, opinions, and justifications. Make sure you answer. Your answers are correct. The verbs endings are fine. You use different tenses. You use linking words as well. And then you have my grade 7 to 9 phrases, basically. These are key. So if you mention 2 or 3 and just stick to them all the time, every time you're doing a writing, just stick to your 3 phrases that you learn. Boom, you're going to get your grade 7 to 9 in your Spanish GCSE writing. Now, you have, for example, there, si tuviera la oportunidad, plus the conditional. So if I had the opportunity, I would go to university. Okay, si tuviera la oportunidad, iría a la universidad. Or you can even use me gustaría ir a la universidad. Cuando sea mayor, plus the conditional again. Cuando sea, when I'm older, I would like to buy a mansion. So cuando sea mayor, me gustaría comprar una mansión. O sí, cuando sea mayor, sí, me compraría una mansión. Si ganara la lotería. So if I won the lottery, I would buy a Ferrari. Okay, si ganara la lotería, me compraría un Ferrari. Si ganara la lotería, ayudaría a los más necesitados. Okay, if I won the lottery, I will help the most needed, and so on. So these are set phrases that you can easily learn. I always say to my students, learn 3 and use them always. Just change them, adapt them to your content. Then you have cuando era pequeño, plus the imperfect. So when I was little, I used to visit my grandparents every weekend. So cuando era pequeña, visitaba a mis abuelos todos los fines de semana. Now, here, the imperfect, just quick grammar point. The imperfect is a past tense in Spanish that doesn't exist basically in English unless you use are used to. These are things you use the imperfect tense to express things you used to do in the past, but you don't longer do it. I always give the example about me visiting my grandparents because I used to do that when I was little, but I don't longer do that because unfortunately my grandparents have passed away a while back. Okay, so and again, I always say my students sometimes say, "Oh, Miss, that's very sad," and I said, "Yeah, but this is something the idea you will remember." Because it's kind of like it plays with your emotions in a way. So, yeah, so these are the kind of examples that stick to students as well, so they can remember when to use it. Then you have si pudiera, if I could. Si pudiera, iría al cine todos los fines de semana. Okay, so if I could, I would go to the cinema every weekend. Then you have there, mi madre, mi padre, mi amigo dice que. Again, you're giving somebody else's opinion. And then you have deberíamos plus the infinitive. We should help the needed, okay? So, or people in need. Deberíamos ayudar a los más necesitados, a los más pobres, okay? So, then we have here. So this is an example of 150 words, okay? It's for a higher paper, so you have to explain. It says, un día en el pasado cuando tuviste problemas con tus amigos. So a day in the past when you had issues with your friends or problems with your friends. Lo bueno y lo malo de vivir en tu región. So the good and bad things about living in your region, in your area. Now, look what I did. So I put the 2 big bullet points. So, un día en el pasado cuando tuviste problemas con tus amigos. So, what did I do? I broke it down into smaller chunks. So, where you went, who with, what it was like, opinions and justifications, then problem. So, for example, the problem is I went out to the cinema and could not decide what film to watch. Okay. Then the second bullet point, you have lo bueno y lo malo de vivir en tu región. So, where I live, house, advantages, many shops, disadvantages, pollution. Okay, so again, covering all the what is requested from me, and then future, where I would prefer to live and why. Okay, so again, that's something that I'm adding. And then you have the example there. So, again, me llamo Antonia y tengo 15 años. Me encanta salir con mis amigos. La semana pasada tuve un fin de semana genial. Salí con mis amigos y fuimos al centro comercial en Londres. Fue muy emocionante. Opinions, okay? Linking words. Again, opinion. El centro comercial tiene muchas tiendas. Describing the shopping center. What I did. Compré ropa de mi tienda favorita. Or you can say en mi tienda favorita as well. Y mi amiga compró unas zapatillas deportivas muy guays. Okay, so what my friend bought as well. So third person in the past. Linking words again. Luego fuimos a comer y comimos unas hamburguesas y patatas fritas riquísimas en Five Guys. Okay, then you say, me encanta Five Guys porque pienso que la comida es maravillosa. Try avoid using interesante because that's what everyone uses. So use other adjectives. Creo que voy a volver, so I believe I'm going to go back to Five Guys con mi familia la próxima semana, with my family next week. Será genial. Again, future tense. Then it says, tuve un problema con mi amiga. I had a problem with my friend because we went to the cinema, porque fuimos al cine. Había muchas películas, so there were. I always say this is key. Había. Now, había, that's the past tense of I. So, I, había, habrá. Those are 3 words, key, small words, but help you a lot. I, there is, present tense. había, there was, past tense or imperfect tense, and habrá, future tense, there will be. You know that and you can make phrases, okay? It says, había muchas películas y fue difícil decidir. It was difficult to decide what film to watch. Well, then you have linking words again. Adverbs. Finalmente, finally, vimos Encanto. Just grammar point as well. Anything ending in mente, normalmente, finalmente, rápidamente. Mente is the equivalent to ly in English. So normalmente in Spanish, normally in English. Finalmente in Spanish, finally in English. Rápidamente in Spanish, quickly in English. Okay, so then you have me pareció, so it seemed to me it was a bit childish, un poco infantil, pero la música es buenísima. But the music is really good. Remember, ísima at the end of an adjective, basically make it into really good. Okay, riquísima, really tasty. And then we go on to the second bullet point. So you say where you live, you describe your town a bit. So vivo en Cobham, es una ciudad ni grande ni pequeña. Hay muchas tiendas diferentes en Cobham, aunque pienso que no hay mucho que hacer para los jóvenes. So again, linking words, aunque, although, I think there isn't much to do for young people. For example, por ejemplo, hay pocos parques y no hay cine. So why? Why do I say that? I justify it. For example, there are few parks and there is no cinema. Qué aburrido. How boring. Sin embargo, hay una piscina muy grande en el centro de la ciudad. Now, however, there is a big swimming pool in the center of town and it's open all year round. Está abierta todo el año. Then again, por otro lado, on the other hand, en Cobham hay mucha polución porque hay muchos coches y el aire es sucio. Okay, I'm explaining. There is a lot of pollution because there are a lot of cars and the air is dirty. Me gustaría vivir en una ciudad más limpia. So I would like to live in a cleaner city. Again, cuando sea mayor, when I'm older, me gustaría vivir en el campo. I would like to live in the countryside. And then it says, en el futuro quiero ser veterinaria. Me encantaría tener una granja con muchos animales. Sería estupendo. Okay? And again, I'm adding up. So in the future, I want to become a vet and I would love to have a farm with many animals. It would be amazing. Okay, and this is it basically. That's the basis for getting a top grade in the writing. Being for foundation, the top grade for foundation is a 5. Top grade for higher is a 9. But that's it. So I hope you really get you got some important information here. Please do give me some questions or leave some questions in the comments if you want me to clarify anything. And also, I do some tutoring. So if you're interested in being tutored by me, just let me know. Leave a comment, send me a private message on Facebook, visit my Facebook page, Instagram page, whichever is easier for you, and we can arrange something. Okay. Thank you very much, and I hope you found this very useful. Let's see now if I can stop.